Life contains many ups and downs, peaks and valleys, triumphs and tragedies, joy and despair, love and anguish. And the funny thing about those wild swings is how one end of their spectrums can make its opposite feel more intense. Failure makes victory feel that much sweeter. Loving someone makes saying goodbye to them hurt that much more. But one thing I was reminded of recently is that when faced with that sort of pain, you can mitigate its effects by seeking out the beauty in what you just endured. Which is why I'm going to tell you the story of Parmesan. No, not that Parmesan. This one. My cat, Parmesan Reggiano, who we said goodbye to this past week. This is him at the vet, where they told us he was pretty unique in that while many cats get scared or even lash out when they are taken there for treatment, Parm just purred. He purred for the nurse checking him in, he purred for the vet tech taking his heart rate, he even purred when given a shot. He was just really happy to be around anyone and everything. That was Parm, the sweetest cat you could ever meet. Parmesan was born, well, we don't really know. See, we went to the shelter to look at cats, and there was this large room filled with all manner of toys and around 20-ish cats zipping around looking for any kind of human attention or affection. Parm was alone in a corner of the room, hiding behind a love seat, until my wife sat down on it and he got the courage to come out and say hello. A timid, antisocial wallflower? Yep, we found our cat. We adopted Parm, and in doing so, learned a bit more about his life. His paperwork said he was rescued from an unfit home, but we'll get into that a bit more later. It also said he was 3 years old, which his vet would later say there is no way that is true. He is much, much older. We also found out that he had worms and tapeworms and ringworm, which we soon got cleared up for him. Parm settled into our home, and it was at this point we saw his true nature. Parmesan was a daddy's boy. The wife would say that she could be petting him and he wouldn't purr, but if I so much as walked into the room or looked at him, he would immediately start purring. Now, usually animals took to me. This was on a whole other level. Every morning I would wake up, start the coffee pot, and pop outside for a smoke. And every morning he would be waiting for me by the back door. We'd go out on the porch together and take in the tranquil nature of a southern morning, watch the squirrels and birds do their dance along the treetops, and then I would pick up Parm and bring him inside. And when I did, he would put his paws around me, like an embrace. Like he was raised in a home that was nothing like this, and our perfect daily morning moment elicited a genuine affection for me. And this was how our days began. But only for 1 year. Apparently there's something called a gotcha day that some pet owners celebrate since they don't know when their pet's actual birthday was because animals don't keep calendars and can't tell you what day they were born. It was right around Parm's gotcha day when we noticed that he was losing weight. Soon after we noticed that he was losing weight alarmingly. He suddenly seemed weak and wasn't coming to the back door for me as often. And a single visit to the vet confirmed the devastating news. We weren't going to have much more time with Parm. We had a few weeks, maybe a month. It all happened so fast. We got him some medicine so he would be able to eat and have more energy, but we're told we had maybe a few more weeks of, well, him. Some days I'd go to the back door and find him waiting for me, and some days I wouldn't. But when he found the energy, it was nice to have Parm. After those few precious weeks, Parm mostly withdrew himself, sleeping on a cat bed under our bed or on some clothes in my closet for most of the day, only coming out for a few hours each day to eat and use the bathroom. Coming outside with me simply wasn't in the cards anymore. His time was drawing near, so we did the difficult task of making an appointment to have someone come to the house and send him off. It would happen on a Wednesday. We sat with him on the couch and held him and watched television, which, holding my cat and watching the Great British Bake Off, makes me the most homosexual man in a heterosexual marriage that isn't a charade. We tried bringing him to the bed, but he opted to sleep in my closet on a pile of clothes. The next morning, I woke up, started the coffee pot, same as every morning, and there he was. Just as he hadn't been for the last week at least. Just standing there, looking up at me, eager to go outside. It was like he knew. This was it. We went outside and enjoyed the morning in the backyard like we had for the past year. We watched the squirrels and the birds in the treetops. He chewed on some grass. And after a longer amount of time than usual, I picked him up to bring him in the house, and Parm hugged me one last time. The woman came and, did her thing. And when she went to give Parm the injection of sedation on the back of his leg, she said something that I will never forget. She commented that the skin on his back legs felt rough, and this was often a sign that a cat had been neglected, possibly even mistreated. And as she gave him his shot, she said, "Oh, you must have had a hard life." As I said, we don't know for certain what happened to Parmesan before he came into our lives. Hell, we don't know when he was born or even how old he was. But if what she said was true, that meant that we had taken in an animal that had been forgotten, mistreated, possibly even abused, an animal who was filled with sickness, pain, and struggle, and we gave him the best last year of his life, one that was filled with love and safety, nourishment and affection, and that is why, in our care, he turned into the sweetest cat you could ever meet. That is why he had gone from being the scared animal in the corner of the room to the cat who purred for everyone and everything. That is why he hugged me. And that, well, that sure as hell ain't worth nothing. If you're a regular to this channel, then this video may seem way out of the ordinary, but I'm someone who thinks a lot about life and usually hides from it in humor. If you like this non-fiction tale, then be sure to check out Eudaimonia, my fictional story that's free to read at the link in the description. Thank you.